Mass Crusaders working overtime, fighting crime. And then the song just take it back. The song just kills it. I love that. It's just, oh yeah, just as soon as it starts up, it just got that epic, just that's nice. Yes, today we're talking about the lesser well-known transforming vehicles franchise from our childhood, Mask. Mask was a cartoon that came out in '85, produced by Dick. But wait, what? It's not called Dick. It's Deke. Yeah, that ain't what we called it. Anyway, naturally, there was an accompanying toy line to the cartoon, and I'm sad to say I never owned a single one. Hey, you had to choose between He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe, everything else. You ain't getting everything. It ain't happening. M.A.S.K. Mask was an acronym for the misspelled Mobile Armored Strike Command, command being with a K, to make the acronym work. Why didn't they just come up with something else for the acronym? As Lady Galadriel so eloquently put it, even the wisest cannot tell. They were led by Matt Tracker, another very 80s name, as the spelling of Tracker was a Trakker. Very 80s. Their opposition was Venom. No, not the symbiote. Venom was a terrorist organization. Their acronym, which was correctly spelled, maybe to contrast Mask, was Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. It's classic. Venom tried to generate revenue through robbery and extortion and counterfeiting, kidnapping, stealing historical artifacts. It reminds me of a few governments I know. The list of characters that made appearances on the shows, all too brief 2 seasons, is so extensive that it has its own Wikipedia page. So I won't waste your time regaling all that text here. Suffice it to say, if there was an idea, there was a character that explored that idea. Mask the Cartoon had a pair of gimmicks my young mind found absolutely irresistible. They had their masks, their helmet things, and they had their vehicles. Now, besides making the characters look cool, the masks these guys donned possessed a variety of powers, like flight and telekinesis and lasers and blobs of lava. And the list goes on, and the list is extensive. Even though the cartoon showed schematics of the helmets, I don't recall the writers delving too deeply into how the head work. The headgear produced, say, lava, but I was a kid and I didn't care. It was cool. That was about all that mattered. Now, this was the 80s. And as we all remember, in spite of globs of lava and lasers flying around, I don't recall anyone ever actually being injured, as the rights groups would be up in arms about kids seeing any level of violence or harm. So people being melted or set on fire would have to remain in the bounds of our imaginations, as I'm sure it did. The vehicles were sweet as well. Not content to rest on the powers of the masks gimmick, Deke packed in a second aspect of the show, transforming vehicles. Where have we heard that before? The Transformers cartoon had been running since '84, so Transformania, and I am copyrighting that word, was in full swing, and Mask wanted a slice of that pie. From Matt Tracker's Thunderhawk that flipped up its doors and could fly, to Miles Mayhem's Switchblade helicopter that could transform into a jet, so your air vehicle could become an air vehicle. Yeah, whatever. Maybe he wanted the ability to hover and streak at Mach speeds. Who knows? But of course, we had that in Airwolf. There's another video. These toys, if my memory serves, had less moving parts than the Transformers, perhaps by design. Like I said, flip up Thunderhawk's doors and it went from hot rod to jet. The transformations were simple and effective, and you have to admire the elegance. I've owned more than a couple Transformers that have made me scratch my head wondering what the next step in the transformation process was, having to resort to reading the instructions. How sad. As mentioned earlier, the cartoon only lasted a couple seasons. Writer's credits on season one read like a phone book. That's the paper version of your contacts list for the youngins among us. While season two only had Ray Dryden and Jack Allisker credited. There were 75 episodes produced, 65 in the first season, and the remaining 10 in season two. So obviously, you had the bulk in season one, and then even though it was renewed for a season two, the season two was kind of a throwaway. So, ah, DVD collections of the series are going to be a challenge. Shout Factory acquired the Region 1 rights and released a set that contains Season 1 65 episodes, but not Season 2's, as those are owned by WildBrain. And as of the time of this writing, there doesn't appear to be a release of those. So now, there are UK and Australian collections that have everything, but as I understand it, you'll have to get a DVD player capable of playing those discs. The Region 1 collection is running $80 plus on eBay and even more on Amazon. Yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo. That's going to be pricey. The UK and Australian collections are significantly cheaper, about $20 or so. So I mean, if you got the gear to play those regions, you can save a ton of money. So maybe look at the cost of set having that set up versus paying the 80 for the American version. Whatever. M.A.S.K took the usual hits of the toy and cartoon TV lines, with critics sounding off about the weapon, violence, blah, blah, blah. But as recent as 2009, IGN rated the show the 99th best animated series out there, taking many of the strengths of G.I. Joe and Transformers and not inheriting a whole lot of their weaknesses. So there was that. And of course, in hindsight, we look back and the violence of that day is laughable by today's standards. So, the show has had and continues to enjoy a wide range of toys. And in September 2024, the Loyal Subjects inked a deal with Hasbro to relaunch a host of legacy brands, M.A.S.K included, with the first wave of products due out July of this year, so just about a month and a half, 2 months from now, which seems to be par for the course for Hasbro. They're handing out their licenses, so expect a new wave of toys across all the genres and shows, to which I find myself bouncing up and down in childlike excitement, exclaiming, and that's enough of that. Wrapping it up. M.A.S.K was a fascinating toy line and a fun little TV show. As it never grew to the popularity of the big ones like G.I. Joe and Transformers, it was often hard to find episodes in rural West Virginia, but I did find them. Furthermore, by the grace of some unknown deity, the Cardinal Market there in my hometown of Elizabeth, West Virginia, often enough had copies of the M.A.S.K comic book, which I may still have tucked into a plastic bin in the attic. So, no, they weren't well written, but they were fun, and it was all you had between catching episodes whenever you could, which can be found here on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. So, these days, and it's Super Saturday, so why not pull up one and take a trip down Nostalgia Lane as part of your Saturday morning cartoons? Please, no hate for T-Bob in the comments. He did the best he could with the script they handed him. Hate the game, not the player. Anywho, thank you everyone who spared me a moment of your time and clicked on this video. I appreciate you all, and I hope I put a smile on your face. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all tomorrow for our season premiere Droids solo play video. So definitely check that out. And I hope you all will have as much fun watching it as I surely will making it. Take care, y'all. Have a good one.